Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to a late edition of the Cricket Happenings today with your host Ram. Well, as far as today's Cricket Happening show is concerned, well, England have started off really with a bang, one could say, as far as the Tour of India is concerned, as they amassed a total of 537 runs, which was a massive total that they amassed against India. Just talking about that, I mean, there were 3 centurions. The other day we saw Joe Root actually set the tone with a century, and there were 2 more centuries coming in from Ben Stokes and also Moeen Ali, who was just 1 short of a century, with England raising 537 on the board and definitely putting on the pressure on the Indians there. And especially considering that this pitch is having a few cracks, and the cracks could widen as the game progresses, and as India would be the ones who would be batting last, India has to be very about it. And definitely I thought England have done a wonderful job of starting off with a real sort of like a thunderous start. They are given their team a thunderous start here by raising 537. In India, the Indian openers Murali Vijay and Gautam Gambhir were very cautious, and they raised 63 on the board without losing a wicket. So, but India has a real hard task. Their first priority would be to get to 337 runs to avoid the follow-on. But definitely India has a good batting lineup, as we all know, and one is really waiting to see as to how the Indian batsmen shape up against the English bowlers. And as far as the Sri Lanka versus Zimbabwe was concerned, it was a mere formality. As I said, the writing was always on the wall, and the mere formality was completed as Sri Lanka got to a very big victory by 257 runs, and Rangana Herath continued his good work as he went on to pick up 13 wickets in the match. In fact, he added 2 more scalps to the 5 wickets that he had yesterday, and he finished with 7 wickets in the second innings. Thus, he had 13 wickets in the match. But we'll look at that later. But let's talk about the second day's play in the first Test match between India and England at the Saurashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Rajkot. And I mean, it was just a formality. One knew that Moeen Ali was inching towards his century, just a single run. Well, he justifiably got his century, but Moeen Ali was the first victim for India. Got a quick breakthrough, one could say, as far as the second day was concerned, because they managed to get the wicket of Moeen Ali. It was Mohammad Shami who surprised Moeen Ali with a delivery which actually went on to hit the stumps of Moeen Ali, and Moeen Ali was gone. Bowled by Shami as his stump got uprooted for 117 with 13 fours. But after that, we saw Ben Stokes was there in the middle, and he was joined by another ebullient performer, and Jonathan Bairstow, as I said yesterday in my Twitter, that he is in the form of his life, and that's what he showed. He really handled. I thought both Ben Stokes and Ben Stokes was he was really very good against the spin. I mean, he was really coming to the pitch of the ball, and it was really good to see that Ben Stokes has probably done some homework on the Indian spinners, and he really used his feet beautifully against the Indian spinners. And there was not much of any hitting, in the sense it was basically playing some cricketing strokes. At the other end, Jonathan Bairstow was also doing a fine job, and this particular partnership was an entertaining partnership that happened between 2 very aggressive performers, Ben Stokes, the mercurial all-rounder, and Jonathan Bairstow, as I said, the form of his life, as he already holds the proud record of being scoring the most number of runs in a calendar year by a wicketkeeper batsman in Test history, Jonathan Bairstow. And Jonathan Bairstow was superb. I thought he was the one, more than Ben Stokes, that he had a sort of a handle over the Indian spinners, especially Amit Mishra. He was toying with Amit Mishra as he dispatched him for 2 glorious sixes, and also hit some very beautiful boundaries. And Ben Stokes, as I said, he was also doing a good job, and the partnership was really blossoming. As it was an entertaining partnership, and they were absolutely in one-day mode, one could say. It was to be expected too, with two aggressive players in the middle, as Jonathan Bairstow scored 46. But after that, we saw Moeen Ali come in and get his scalp by getting him caught behind for 46 with 5 fours and 2 sixes. A thoroughly entertaining knock from Jonathan Bairstow. And then we saw Ben Stokes was there till the end. In fact, they lost the Wokes pretty cheaply for 4 with 1 boundary, and Adil Rashid for 5 with 1 boundary, and both were victims of the bowling of Ravindra Jadeja. After that, we saw Ben Stokes was there in the middle, and Ben Stokes definitely required someone to stand with him. And as we know, this English team, to me, virtually does not have any tail. When you see that Stuart Broad is the number 11 batsman in the England team, one can safely say that this England team has no tail. And Zafar Ansari definitely showed that he was no mug with the bat, as he started giving company to Ben Stokes, and he was giving him all the support that Ben Stokes required to actually reach his century, as Ben Stokes went on to score a century, and eventually his score was 128. That was another partnership that happened from 465, almost a 50-run partnership that happened between Zafar Ansari and Ben Stokes, as Ben Stokes scored 128 with 13 fours and 2 sixes, and Zafar Ansari was also frustrating the Indians as Stuart Broad came in to join Zafar Ansari. Zafar Ansari, the main thing what he was doing well was he was really blocking the Indian bowlers very well, and then finally he was the last man to be dismissed. LBW bowled Mishra for 32, and also we saw a sort of a game plan in what England were doing. England probably were trying to see to it that India gets totally worn off, and that's what, and we definitely saw a phase of play where probably one would have thought that there would have been a lot of strokes played, but it was the reverse case. In fact, it was a sort of a very slow approach to batting. So probably there was a game plan in whatever Alistair Cook was doing there, as finally this England innings came to a close on 537. Stuart Broad was not out on 6, and Zafar Ansari impressed with 32 with 3 boundaries, and Ben Stokes, what a knock from Ben Stokes, 128 with 13 fours and 2 sixes, and before one realized Ben Stokes' knock was something which was really shining like bright light in this England innings of 537. As far as the wicket takers were concerned, Moeen Ali had 2 for 65. I thought he bowled well. 2 for 112 Yadav, 2 for 167 for Ashwin, toiled hard. Jadeja 3 for 86, and Amit Mishra 1 for 98. And as far as India were concerned, so India were given a chance to play 23 overs on the first day, and Murali Vijay and Gambhir, well, they definitely had some edges. Let me also talk about the Indian fielding. Well, the Indian fielding, very sadly to say, one would probably say that Indian fielding was absolutely ragged. They dropped catches, the fielding was not up to the mark, and it was really surprising. I thought England definitely got away with something there, because the Indian fielding, India only had themselves to blame for England actually raising a big total of 537, as the England fielding run ragged, one could say, in this particular test match here, and they definitely need to pull up their socks in the second innings when England bat, and that really contributed to actually England, because Ben Stokes was dropped a couple of times. Yesterday we saw a lot of catches being grassed, and looking at things here, this is not the way that one would have expected India to field, and one has to definitely say this Indian fielding had left a lot to be desired. As far as India were concerned, so Indian batting, the openers Murali Vijay and Gautam Gambhir were very cautious in their approach, and that was rightly so, and they also had to guard the wicket, and that's what they precisely did, as one did not see much happening as far as the Indian innings was concerned, but finally the Indian openers guided India safely to close of play on the second day with 63 without loss. Murali Vijay was not out on 25 with 4 boundaries. Gautam Gambhir was not out on 28 with 4 boundaries as that was stumps on day 2. The bowling, Broad had none for 20, Vokes none for 17, none for 6 for Moeen Ali, Zafran Chaudhary, and one is yet to see Ben Stokes come, and Ben Stokes probably tomorrow will be playing a role. We saw what he did in Bangladesh with his reverse swing bowling, and he would be quite a difficult proposition for India. And with the ball getting old, Ben Stokes will definitely come into the picture, no doubt about it. And one would be seeing his exhibition of reverse swing bowling when he comes on tomorrow to actually hurl the ball at the Indians. But I said India has a real task to do here. They really need to buckle down in a big way and see to it that their first priority being getting to the 337 runs mark to first and foremost avoid the follow on and then look at things. But definitely one knows that the Indian batting order is very strong, but again it's not something that one can take for granted. One has to really see as to how things pan out on the third day, and one really looks forward to some very nice cricket coming up as far as the third day's play at the Saurashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Rajkot is concerned. Now let's turn our attention now to a very match between the second test match between Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka, but that was I would say it's just a mere formality that happened. The only good thing that one could glean from it, there was not much of a resistance at all from the Zimbabweans, and it was a very quick work. Craig Irvine was the highest scorer with 72 with 9 fours and 1 6. He definitely played a good knock, but Rangana Herath was the man who was absolutely, I would say, swarming over the Zimbabweans because he went on to pick up 7 wickets. He picked up all the wickets that fell today. He picked up the important wicket of Craig Irvine, and after that he cleaned up the tail. Mumbai was out LBW for 1. Pofu contributed 20 with 2 sixes, and he was LBW for Herath. And Sri Lanka going on to a magnificent win by 257 runs, and thus taking the series 2-0. And Rangana Herath was named player of the match, and the player of the series going to Dimuth Karnaratne, the opener from Sri Lanka, because he showed some consistency. And let's have a look at Rangana Herath's figures. 23 overs, 6 maidens. In fact, I actually made an error by telling 7 wickets. It was 8 wickets that he took. 23 overs, 6 maidens, 63 runs and 8 wickets. What a wonderful spell of bowling from Rangana Herath. And definitely deserves a lot of kudos. And especially, as I said yesterday, if you look at my Twitter remarks, that I said that he has also taken the, especially considering that he's shouldering an additional responsibility of being the captain of the team and then bowling in such an admirable manner, really deserves great kudos for his work. And my man of the match probably, I would have probably plumped for Rangana Herath as the player of the series because, as I said, he had the additional responsibility of being the captain. But I mean, this is something, this is purely my opinion on this cricket show. Well, the match adjudicators decided to actually award the player of the series to Dimuth Karnaratne. Well, that is also something that will give a good boost to Dimuth Karnaratne to deliver in more as far as Sri Lankan cricket is concerned. Well, so that is as far as these two matches are concerned. But the India-England match is the one which is going to be interesting. As I said, today would be the India's test as to see how they combat the English bowlers. As I said, Ben Stokes will be out there with the reverse swing with the old ball, and then there'll be the spinners to contend with too. But all in all, it should be an interesting day's play coming up. Just wanting to touch base on something here, and that is to say that the New Zealand player Martin Guptill, who definitely struggled while he was in India, has been axed from the Test series against Pakistan. So that is the news which is coming up, And also there are some new faces which have been given an opportunity. There are a lot of New Zealand players who have been injured, and that's the precise reason. The New Zealand have included a lot of new faces. One is Todd Astle. Now, Todd Astle is someone who actually fills up the role of an all-rounder very well, and he would be someone like like Mitchell Santner, the promising spinner. They also have Ravel coming up. Ravel is a very good batsman, as you know. So Ravel gets his opportunity, but Martin Guptill has been axed from the team. Is the uncapped batsman Jeet Ravel, who has scored heavily in the domestic circuit there in New Zealand. The all-rounder Colin de Grandhomme has got an opportunity, and all-rounder Todd Astle, who has played only one test, has also been given an opportunity. But one thing that I would like to say, I think New Zealand are really crippled because they have lost. If you look at the side here, there were 6 players from the New Zealand team who could not be considered due to injury. And look at the names. Mitchell Santner, who did wonderfully well in India. Mark Craig, another impressive off spinner. Adam Min, Mitchell McClenaghan, Colin Munro, George Worker, Corey Anderson. So definitely, I think New Zealand are definitely crippled after losing some very big names. And now, despite that, the New Zealand cricket selectors decided to axe Martin Guptill because Martin Guptill definitely has the experience. But I thought he was slowly getting into some form on the Indian tour. But definitely, the New Zealand cricket decided to do otherwise, and they decided to drop Martin Guptill from the squad, and that is the news. Well, dear fans and subscribers, that really sums up this cricket show of mine today. Hope you all enjoyed it, and it's Ram bidding good night and promising you that I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you.